Hello, Darren here from Bounce and Bella. Lovely to see you. Today I'm talking to Kimberly from CityDogExpert.com. Kimberly's an experienced dog trainer with over 12 years in the business and has worked all over the world training dogs. And City Dog Expert's sister company, CitySitState, also won the Best Pet Service of 2020. Today we're going to be discussing the dreaded Bonfire Night and its associated fireworks, and Kimberly's going to be giving us some tips and help on how to deal with this. So I'm going to do the usual and attempt to join up with her. Let's see how we do here. Go. Will we do it? So I've hit the right buttons.
Hello.
Hi, Kimberly. Are you all right?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Brilliantly. Yes.
Good.
Fantastic.
I apologise if I have a slight lisp today. I've just got out the dentist. So
No way.
I know I had to have an emergency crown done, which was super exciting. So,
Blimey. You're committed to the cause.
I love you guys, and I really want people to be focusing on Bonfire Night because it's only in a week and a half. So it's kind of like we all need to get working on this at the moment.
Yeah, it creeps up on your Bonfire Night. With it being at the beginning of a month.
Absolutely.
Halloween takes ages to arrive. Bonfire Night, it's
You know
here.
what? That's exactly it. And everyone's so focused on Halloween. They're like, I mean, look, I've got my Halloween jumper on and everything. I've got my Halloween handbag. I'm obsessed. But as soon as Halloween's done, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the dogs, bonfire. And they start straight away, those fireworks, honestly, on the 1st, like clockwork every year. And it's one of those things that petrify so many dogs. It's so heartbreaking to see a dog that's really scared of fireworks. I know that you've got one that's scared of fireworks as well, don't you?
Oh yeah, he's thunder and fireworks, but fireworks particularly bad.
Yeah. And you know, the thing last year was okay because we were kind of in that quasi lockdown situation. You know, most people were not having big firework displays, but under normal circumstances, those fireworks can happen anytime. Next door neighbor, around the corner, you know, kids with sparklers, all of those things. So setting our puppies up to succeed, or our adult dogs to succeed, especially those that have never been around for bonfire nights, is so important.
Yeah. And so how do you do that then? What's the secret sauce?
You know, there isn't actually a secret to it, but it's all about making sure that you're putting the work in and working not just on the day of bonfire or the night before, which is when a lot of people suddenly realize, oh my goodness, I need to work on this because the fireworks display is tomorrow. We really need to be working on it from last week, from in the middle of summer. We really need to be working slowly with our dogs to get them used to those particular sounds. And there are a whole bunch of sounds that you can start introducing, which are on various apps, on websites, on YouTube, etc., and starting to slowly desensitize our dog to those particular things. Because if we look at it from a dog's point of view, you know, they're just going about their daily life and it's like, oh, isn't this great? And then, pow, there's a huge big bang and they can't make sense of it. I mean, fireworks are scary for humans who can understand what's going on, let alone a poor little dog who doesn't understand where that particular sound and sight has come from as well. So we really need to go over systematic desensitization and starting to gradually prepare our dog several weeks in advance so that they are prepped for bonfire night. It's all about little and often. We don't want to throw them in the deep end, just like with any phobia. We don't want to be thrown into the deep end with anything. It's about gradually desensitizing.
Right. Yeah, so what it's quiet sounds initially. This is me turning the volume down. Sorry. Just imagining the volume. So yeah, I'm living in the past with old audio things, aren't I? But anyway, so it's turning the volume down. You got your so you keep, I presume, I don't know, I presume you put the volume down a bit and then just...
So the idea with any kind of desensitization work is we want to find the point where our dog isn't reacting. So if we're looking at a sound scale from 0 to 10, 10 being the loudest, we really want to be starting on that 0 to 1, where our dogs can hear it, but they're not showing any signs of anxiety. And it's really important, and I would recommend people work with a trainer if they do have a dog who has firework phobia. It's important that we're understanding our dog's body language in those instances. We're understanding what it means when their tail moves or their ears do this, or with some dogs they start drooling or panting, things like that. Obviously we know the more obvious signs of fearfulness with our dog, you know, sometimes he's cowering or their eyes go super big, but there are a lot of really subtle signs that we can pick up on prior to that, before they get to that point where they just can't handle it anymore. So we want to be making sure we've got those sounds really quiet, and we're making sure our dog is okay within those instances. You can be introducing treats, reward them, making sure they're all right, maybe incorporate some canine massage, bit of T-touch, that kind of stuff. And then over a matter of weeks, sometimes, depending on how severe the anxiety is with your dog, you then start gradually increasing the volume. Now, obviously, Bonfire Night is in 2 weeks, so we wanted to make sure that we're starting that work from now, but also that we're looking after them, their whole self, in lots of different ways. I actually have a Bonfire Night course, which would be interesting, and actually Bounce and Bella subscribers do get a discount on the course as well. So all you have to do, guys, is just send a message to Bounce and Bella and they'll give you the discount code. But it also has on there some interviews with nutritionists as well, what kind of foods and supplements we can be including in our dog's daily life, or in those periods coming up to Bonfire Night, to help calm them in those particular situations. What can we be doing routine wise to make sure that we're setting them up to succeed, that we are not throwing them in the deep end, we're not taking them out for a walk at 9 p.m, that kind of thing. And you do have trainer advice there as well, but you can definitely start working on some of the sound desensitization and just gradually increasing the volume, always making sure your dog is feeling safe and feeling comfortable. Pairing it actually with some Bounce and Bella treats is a very good choice. My guys love the venison. I actually brought the venison with me today to the dentist. So, so every time I'm introducing that sound at a really quiet level, I'm giving my dogs a bit of venison treat. So they start to associate that particular sound with getting something yummy.
Ah, okay. So it's low sounds.
I'm sorry.
With treats, a bit of massage. And what was the other thing you said? Tea something or
Yeah,
other?
it's something called T-touch, which is Tellington touch, which is just a basic, it is a style of massage that you can do on your dogs, which can help calm them down when they're in anxious situations as well. There's also lots of tips and tricks and games that you can be doing to try and keep them occupied when there is lots of crazy noises going outside. Now, this is not
Distract.
Sorry?
Distract.
Yeah, you know, and sometimes, especially if we have a dog or the fireworks have already started now, or a dog that's super anxious, we do need to make sure that we are using every tool in our arsenal to make sure that we are prepared. If we need to be talking to the vets as well, making sure that we have explained to them what the situation is, and that we are not asking for an emergency prescription the day of Bonfire Night. You know, we need time. We need to be gradually getting them ready for it. And if you think that they're not going to be ready for Bonfire Night, think of all the other times that there are fireworks. New Year's, huge amounts of fireworks at New Year's as well. Some people Diwali, other places for birthdays, there's fireworks and things like that. It's not just a once a year type event that we have to prepare our dogs for. So working on sound desensitization and firework phobia is something that I would recommend for most dogs, especially those dogs that have never ever been exposed to it because of COVID last year and all of the lockdowns. They've never even heard a firework before. So preparedness is key.
Right, so it's all in the build-up.
Absolutely. It's like everything, you know, any kind of training is, if we compare sound desensitization or firework phobia training to us working for a weightlifting competition, We don't just turn up on the day of the event with all of our hormones going crazy in that level of nervousness that's going on and be like, right, we're going to lift that massive weight. You practice, and you practice every day, and you gradually increase how many pounds or kilograms you can lift. And it's exactly the same with any kind of dog training, that we want to be gradually increasing it so that we're not throwing them in the deep end, because what happens then is we have a dog that's even more scared next time they hear fireworks, because they haven't been prepared properly as to how to deal with it.
Yeah. Weirdly, it puts me in mind of Jade Goody and the London Marathon. Yeah,
She didn't do any practice, did she?
That was it. I was watching that live, and she was chatting. The BBC were interviewing her with Gordon Ramsay, and she didn't realise how long it was and how long he'd been training for. And he was just rocking and rolling all over the place, laughing his head off. But yeah, I don't think she got through many miles.
No, and
so
it is one of those things that sadly a lot of us don't think about until it's too late. That it is the morning of, or it's the day of, and our dog's suddenly petrified, and we're like, oh my gosh, we should have dealt with this previously. And we have the advantage that we know it's going to be the same weekend every single year. We know when Bonfire Night's going to be, we know when New Year's is going to be, we know when Diwali is going to be. So we can use that to our advantage, that we are preparing our dogs for those particular dates as well. So a little bit of it is being organized and setting your dog up to succeed, because nobody wants to have that petrified dog on Bonfire Night. It just ruins the entire weekend, and it obviously is not good for your dog. It puts them at that point where they're so stressed out or they're panicked. Some of them will even self-harm. We really want to make sure that they're okay in those situations.
Yeah, and what you mentioned, some of the body language, some of the more subtle ones. Yeah. What would some of that be?
So this is just some vague ideas, because every dog is different, and it's really important that we understand our dog's neutral in any situation. So we understand what they look like when they're at home, when they're relaxed, when we're coming inside, or their favorite person ever comes over, or whatever it is. Knowing what that looks like when they're happy and relaxed makes it easier to know what it looks like when they're anxious. So some of the more obvious signs with our dogs are the tail goes underneath, maybe the ears go all the way back, something called whale eyes, which humans do as well when they're a bit like, whoa, what happened there? Our eyes go super big. Some of our dogs will do that as well. It's very obvious in Frenchies and pugs and any of those bigger eyed dogs. Suddenly their eyes just go absolutely massive. Some more subtle signs could be something like shaking. If you've ever seen a dog do a shake off where it looks like they're soaking wet and they do a full body shake, sometimes that can be a sign of anxiety. A little bit of lip licking as well. A lot of people will mistake that for, oh, my dog's thirsty, or oh, my dog's hungry. Well, if it's in an anxiety induced situation, it can be that your dog's feeling a bit scared or anxious. So lip licking is a very obvious one. Also, if you know what to look out for. Some other subtle ones as well can just include little tiny movements of the lips as well. So you will see this often on a dog photo shoot. The dog's feeling a bit scared, but it looks like they're smiling. So that their mouth goes really big and they start panting. It's usually from anxiety, because they don't know what's going on. There's flashing lights, there's a whole room of strangers, the shutters going on and off. So once we can compare our dog's neutral, it's much easier to see those little micro signs of anxiety as well. There's an incredible book that I recommend everyone gets called Doggy Language by a lady called Lily Chin. She's absolutely fantastic. It's about £5 online, very easy to understand book about body language in our dogs. It talks about all the different areas, so the face, ears, tail, the full body, etc. So you can know what to look out for. There is also a website, if you cannot afford the book, there is a website by someone called Dr. Sophia Yin, and she has a whole bunch of free resources on there as well. So you can really start to understand what signs to look out for in your particular dog. Now, not every dog shows the same signs of anxiety.
Yeah.
Often people will misread a tail wag as, oh, my dog's absolutely fine, he's wagging his tail. Well, is he wagging it in a high position? Is it really low and really slow? What does that mean compared to what his neutral is? So understanding your specific dog is going to make all the difference.
All right, good. That's fascinating. Hopefully can get some of those the book and the Doctor, what was it, sorry?
Fear Yin.
Yeah,
Yes.
We'll get that into the blog somewhere, and so people can access it. Yeah, brilliant.
I have some links on my website as well, which people are welcome to message me for also, so I can send those along to people.
Yeah. And what does your course contain? Then that's available now, isn't it?
Yes, that's available from now. As I said, there is a discount for Bounce and Bella people, and it's about how we can set up our dogs to succeed for fireworks night, which is obviously only in 10 days. So it's about what we can be doing every single day to set them up to succeed, how we can be understanding our dog's body language in different areas, in different circumstances, and in different times of the day, and how to go over a behavioral modification process whereby we are gradually working on that sound desensitization and possibly visual desensitization as well, depending, because with every firework, we don't just hear the bang, we often see the lights as well. And if your dog isn't used to seeing that, that's definitely something that we want to be introducing. We also have a huge resource of boredom busters that we recommend, things that you can be doing, and also different ways to keep your dog occupied during that period of time as well. So there is a lot of things on there. You also have a private community on Facebook where you can ask absolutely any questions that you want. And also on the 5th, I will be there, and one of the other trainers will be there to answer any questions at all that come up. So if suddenly you're like, oh my goodness, my dog's suddenly doing this, you have access to a trainer online who is going to be able to answer your question on the 5th of November as well.
Wow. Perfect. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. So that's, I've got the address for you. It's at your sister website,
yes,
isn't
so
it?
that's on CitySitState. And as I said, if anyone sends a message to either myself or Bounce and Bella, you can get the discount for that. I believe it's going out in the Bounce and Bella newsletter, which goes out on Friday,
Probably, yeah.
I think as well.
Yeah.
But if anyone wants to jump in a little bit sooner, all of those resources are there for you. CitySitState is basically a resource, a training resource for city dogs. So if you're living in an urban environment and your dog is not used to fireworks, or you know for a fact that they're not good with fireworks, this course is absolutely for you. If your dog has never been around them, it's a really great way of setting them up to succeed. And if your dog has been around them and you know that they're fearful, we have all of those steps so that you can really try and have the best Bonfire Night that you can.
And is there a difference between city dogs and, I don't know, other
country
dogs?
Rural
dogs, rural, whatever they are.
Well, if we're looking in general, I think there's a huge difference. You know, the city dogs generally will not have as much space as their non-urban counterparts, but also, if you're looking at city dogs, they're generally going to be living in a building that probably has more access to seeing and hearing fireworks, or in an environment where they're likely to be hearing loud noises more frequently than a country dog. So if we're looking at cars backfiring, buses, trains, etc., all of the things that we're going to be learning in the firework course are going to be useful for all of those as well. Now, if you live in an urban environment where, for example, they have gunshots or things like tractor sounds, or maybe races that involve those big honking, those aerosol things, definitely air horns. There you can tell I'm a city girl. I was like, I've never seen one. It's definitely useful to start your dog desensitizing to any of those loud sounds as well. Even if you're just thinking of coming to the city in the wild in any point in the future, or you want to do it as more of a preventative, it's not something that you're going to be wasting your time on. these skills are super useful, and they can be used again and again and again every year. The idea is while you're working through the course, your dog is gradually getting better with those particular sounds, so that when Bonfire Night comes, when New Year's comes, when Diwali comes, or whatever loud sound happens, they already have those tools in their arsenal to succeed.
Brilliant. Well, that's great, Kimberly. Thank you so much for
thank you.
joining us under such trying circumstances for you as well.
Oh God, I know. I feel like my mouth is dropping on one side. So.
Wouldn't have noticed a thing at all.
Perfect,
So fine. Okay, cool. So we've got the website there for you. It's CitySitState.com. Hit you up wherever, and you'll be able to tell people where to reach your offer, or hit us up as well. Brilliant. Absolutely. All right, lovely to see you then again.
Bounce and Bella fans do get a discount as well, or anyone that's been joining on here. Just mention Bounce and Bella, and they get a nice discount code for the course.
Brilliant. All right. Thanks a lot then, Kimberly.
Thank you so
lovely
much.
to see you.
Chat to you
See you now.
Bye.
Bye.